Okay, so it's been quite a while since I've updated. Hopefully you've just seen a clip of where I showed you the crack in the Gen V intake. So yeah, things escalated. Took it apart to repair it. As you can see, it's all in bits and it's in there. And it had a crack here. As you can see, I piled a ton of weld in, then I decided it was terrible and I needed to make a new manifold. Then I decided that I would try and save this. So I've made a new flange and a new bolt-on flange. So one would be welded in, the other one would be bolted and welded to a new cone or diffuser. Pretty sure this is called a diffuser. Looks like a hairdryer diffuser. And then I was chatting to my mate, Zach. You can follow him on Instagram. He's at Sack the Original. He makes absolutely stunning intake manifolds, and he gave me a load of stuff and a template so that I can have a crack at making my own in the same way that he does, which will be, if you remember the CG13 turbo engine, I had the diffuser manifold on that as well. So where I'm at the minute is cleaning this up. I've got holes to plug. I really struggled to get this all apart because of the amount of sealant I use. Look at that. So this is no good anymore. I'm going to get the trumpets, cut them out, cut the flanges off, do something with this, plug the holes, clean it up, report this so it matches the trumpets nicer. And then we've got a big bit of tube for the actual plenum itself, bit of tube to make the cone. He kind of gave me some end plates as well, and a nice bit of metal to make a throttle body flange. And while I'm down here, I will show you, I've got, oh, he also gave me that as well, which has got the right size holes for 8th NPT, so I'm going to make that either 2 or 3, because I don't need 4, although I could just put a couple of bungs in. Maybe I will put all 4, might be handy. Future proofing and all that. I got some STI Impreza broken injectors. I got some STI Impreza 555 cc's to replace the 420s or whatever these are. These are RX8s. Got a bunch of new seals. Got a fuel rail. Some other things as well. Insert a clip a minute of how I made this turbo guard. Can you guess what it is yet? But yeah, there's a turbo guard. As you can see, I used a grease container, which is 4 inches, and then I put another grease container on top, folded it down, cable tied it, then I put tape around here tight, and then as you can see, I used an angle grinder and I cut it back, so I got a nice cut. The tape was just to stop it from changing shape while I cut it. Put it on with a Jubilee clip, and it's just mesh that I bought off of eBay, if I'm honest, and I kind of wish I went a little bit finer, but for now that'll be fine. And I also got a breather filter, so that's that little job done. That was about 15 quid. And I also fixed the water leak, and that was easy. I just took that water neck off the back, the reroute pipe, and I filed it flat, and then I glued it back on with some RTV. Still got all this to clean up, as you can see. I think that, oh hello, forgot about that. So I trial fitted the splitter I was making for the Silver Micra. I'm not even sure if that was in any of the videos of the Silver Micra, but I know it looks low, but it's actually, this top surface is the same height as the pinch weld here. So when I put a flat bottom on it, the flat bottom will extend out a little bit, and then there'll be skirts. And I don't know if I'm going to even bother using the Monkey Magic S14 skirts. They're a bit deeper than I wanted, and there's not much to them. Because the body is relatively straight along the side. I think I'm just going to make new sheet metal ones to match whatever I do here. I'm probably going to match this angle, come down, and then just you know, like trim it in nice along here, and it'll probably be attached to the bottom and maybe not so attached to the top, or I'll do it the other way around. Actually, it'll be attached to the bottom, not attached to the bumper, so that I can take this off for loading. Bumper comes off easy because it's on quick releases, as you know. Oh, I got headlights in as well, and side lights. I put riv nuts in the wing and in the little bracket behind there, so I could use M5 dome heads instead of the horrible self tappers. Got the towing eye on there. Looks pretty good. And I got the towing eye on the back. Oh yeah, cut to a clip of me removing filler. Yeah, towing eye on the back. Also got a new battery which is mounted in there. You can't really see it, but I will show you the box so you get an idea. It is an Extreme XR600 and it was 45 quid plus VAT, and it has better specs than the Odyssey equivalent that I was going to buy, and it's a little bit smaller and it's the same weight. I also fixed that bolt that was a bit screwed in the compressor housing, and now the heat shield is on there and nice and tight. And not only that, but I fixed the water leak, I hope. I haven't even checked, but it's in there. That water neck on the back seems to be dry. The car is covered in filler dust because I've been trying to figure out what to do with these rear quarters. I have actually been tidying these up so I can make some sill stands before I go testing. On the 14th of May I think we go testing. This is how far I've got so far. Made the flange and I've cut this pipe, but I need to put some angle on the ends so that it just fits a bit nicer. And I'm also about to start making the cone out of this bit of pipe, so I've drawn a, and let me get out of the sun, scribed a line. First line went a bit off at an angle, so I got a bit of angle iron, placed that on top and scribed along the edge. And I also made a new template because my dimensions of my cone are a little bit different to what Zach was using, and I did this with a little trick I made. This basically simulates the cone, throttle body size, and then so we've got the throttle body size and then the desired diameter at the end. So that's 66 mil, so that I end up with a 60 mil ID, and that's 28, so I end up with a 22 mil ID on the end. I'm not really that bothered about this end, it's just what I could find. Then I've got a bit of paper, like so, and I'm let it just sit on the paper. I mean, I didn't do it on the floor, I did it on a piece of wood, flat piece of wood. And I marked where it was touching the paper on both ends. And marked the paper, and then you roll it like this. And you can see it's like scribed a line into the paper on both ends. You see that? And then I marked when it got to the bottom, drew lines with a marker pen and a ruler, and then I cut it out. The tube isn't quite big enough. The tube isn't quite big enough to do it in one hit, and I think it's going to be a pain to the tube isn't big enough diameter to do it in one, so I folded it in half and I've written down like so I can use this template in the future. My slot's going to go on this side, And this slot size, 16mm wide and 276 overall, which would actually be 260 from center to center of the radius. That works out at the throttle body being 60mm ID. The cross-sectional area of a 60mm throttle body is 35% smaller, or 65% of the 16mm slot. So the 16mm slot's got more surface area. I've written along here where my part line is, where I'm going to weld, and then my end diameter. So what needs to happen is this needs to sit on the line. Oh, you can't see because of the sun. This needs to sit on the line and then wrap it round, draw around it and cut it out. And then I'll do the same again this way. Actually, that's a lie. I'm going to do that. And then I've got to do it that way, however it fits on the tube. But you get me? Right, so I'm going to do that. It's important that this is level or parallel with the axis of the tube. So I'm going to take that on and mark it and try and cut it out. I've literally been making this cone all day, and unfortunately it had some sort of a coating on it. This was like a test piece I ran. As you can see, it looks shitty and funky colours on the other side, but I sanded it back and buffed it and DA'd it and Scotch brighted it and all sorts, and it seems to have welded okay. As you can see, I've flattened off the welds on the top here, and also I've got like a couple of marks from where I've been panel beating it, because I didn't really know how I was going to make this the shape I wanted it, but I used a combination of this piece of Delrin for one end, so I could like beat this end to the right shape and make it round, and then I also put this piece in the vise and hammered the crap out of the other end and got it round, and then I tacked it and I kept manipulating it and retacking it, and this is where I've got to. It's pretty much, I'm pretty happy with it, I think. I think once it's welded, I think it's going to look good. Whether I paint it or not, I'm not sure. And then I also cut up that inlet manifold. So that's going to get hot washed and maybe shot blasted. Then I've got to figure out where I'm cutting it and order some tube so I can weld some tube onto there to make runners, because I'm going to try and maximize my runner length. One thing I've got to be mindful of is getting it in and out. Yeah, it's a bit tight there. I won't be able to get it off the studs, but I could lose the studs and just use Allen key bolts all round, or whatever bolts all round, as long as I don't have studs. That would be doable. That's what I've got done today. Hopefully I'll get some materials and get some more done in the week, and I'll keep you posted because I'm desperate to get this thing running again.